JJ, we got Johnson. We got Johnson at 26. We got Johnson at 26. This is great.
It is Matt, it is Richie. We are hanging out with the Jets Lounge guys. Richie, my man, how's it going?
Matt, this is sick. We're at the Jets Lounge event in Farmingdale. The main event is what it's called. We got the entire Rodgers family over there. Jets!
Hunger tremors. That's right. It is Jets chaos. I am in the Jets Lounge, and I'm mad. Why am I mad? I'm not mad at the Jets. I'm not mad at Joe Douglas, and I'm not mad at you. No, I'm not mad at you. Unless you're one of these clowns on Facebook saying the most outrageous, ridiculous things I've ever heard, and that makes me mad. But before I go into that, let's say hello to some of you guys. A Fungus Among Us was the first one here, and he wants you to click the like button. I'm not asking you. A Fungus Among Us is asking you. So if you don't do it for me, do it for a Fungus Among Us. Because we always want there to be a fungus among us, don't we? Harlan Abraham, what's going on, my brother? Good to see you. It's not good to see Twisted, but it counts as a viewer and a streamer, and I mean, if the guy makes himself useful and hits the like button, he can hang around. You know what I mean, Twisted? That's what you get for your wise guy cracks and antics. We have Tony Alexio in the house. What's going on? Tony Alexio, you're a funny one. My brother is here saying, hello, Mr. Chaos. Nice to meet you. It sounds like a Rolling Stones song to me. You know. Pleased to meet you. What's up, Jets fam? Sean McAteer, the one and only, one of three guardians of Temecula Valley, doing his job and standing guard and making sure those 40 to 60 wineries are safe. And one of my favorite casino hotels is safe so people can play poker in safety. If you go into Temecula looking for trouble, don't be surprised if Sean McAteer number one is there to meet you, because he's not playing games. He's not playing around. And, of course, there's my niece, Leah. Hello, Leah. I don't have the dogs here, so I can't show. I can only keep sending you videos on the phone. But they're doing really well. Yes. Good to be had. Harlan. I love how you guys are all saying hello. But anyway, let's get to what's going on. What's my Sunday rant going to be about? Well, there's a couple of things that have been bugging me, kind of getting under my skin. First of all, just to preview my last thing. I'm not defending him and saying he's a star. I'm not saying he's good. I'm not saying he's not a disappointment. Can we stop the whining about Zach Wilson being our backup quarterback? Can we just stop? Nobody has a good backup quarterback. That's why they're a good backup quarterback. Nobody wants their backup quarterback to be running the team, because that's why they're a backup quarterback. So we can stop this nonsense. Of course, we don't want Aaron Rodgers to get hurt and Zach Wilson to come in and run the team, right? But the reality is, as much as we don't trust him because we've seen when he has the yips, he's completely worthless, he also has a higher ceiling than any other second QB2 in the league. Because when he plays well, we've seen him lead us over Pittsburgh, over Denver, over Green Bay, over Buffalo. Was he the cause of the victories? Was he the MVP of those victories? No. But he was good enough for us to get those victories. And with this year's team, a backup quarterback that could come in, and even if let's say he came in for 4 games, he goes 2-2. Yeah. I'll sign up for that. I mean, that's what you want. So can we just stop the nonsense? I understand that he's not what we wanted him to be. but we're not starting the season with him as our starter. That was the growth of the team. Our starting quarterback from last year is now our second string quarterback. He's going to be holding a clipboard. And we made this giant jump to a much better quarterback. And guess what? If that better quarterback, knock on wood, gets banged up and misses a game or two, hopefully that's all it would be, then we have to go back to that guy who was our starting quarterback last year, who's 50-50. He could be the guy that threw 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against Pittsburgh and won us that game. Or he could be the guy that played New England and put up 3 points and was absolutely brutal and awful. We don't know. He looks better in camp. We have to hope. But isn't that the case with all backup quarterbacks? That you don't really know what you're going to get? You really don't know how they're going to do. Sometimes they surprise you and they do really well. And sometimes they come in and play really bad. The Miami Dolphins thought they had Dan Marino, the second coming of Dan Marino, coming in for Tua in the Sky Scarlett Thompson, right? Now they dread him having to play. So you never really know. And guess what? Nobody was happy when Mike White used to come in. Oh, there was some Mike White fanatics, but as soon as he had that first bad game against Buffalo, not even this season, but in that first season, everybody was like just off that train, right? So I mean, yeah, we should be worried if our backup quarterback is running the team. That's normal to be worried about it because nobody wants a backup quarterback that's not good enough to get a starting job anywhere in the league to be your starting quarterback. Anyway, let me say hello to some more people. We got Hank G has joined us. Billy SBC has joined us. My friend Johnny Jimenez has joined us. He's here. Matthew Cravat is still here trying to cause trouble. They're calling Jeremy up as a backup quarterback. Well, I could. I choose not to, but I could. I have other things that I have to do. So I choose not to play. But, you know, Weed the People is here. It's good to see you, Weed the People. Anyway, I just wanted to start. Hey, what's up? Small Heath Jet Petroleum. Good to see you. I wanted to start with that piece. I want to remind everybody, he's our backup quarterback. And if we have to use him, instead of going crazy, instead of just saying, oh, man, we blew it. Joey D didn't get a better player. How about being a fan? How about rooting for him and hoping that we get the right Zach Wilson? How about hoping that we get the Zach Wilson that was actually able to play in the NFL? Not great, but manage a game. The guy that was able to get us in the midseason a bunch of wins by not messing up. Can we just hope for that if we're real fans? If he has to come in and play? I mean, let's be honest. It's a backup quarterback. I mean, we've had some very questionable backup quarterbacks over the years, people. We've had questionable starting quarterbacks, yet alone the backup quarterback. So let's just be real, okay? Would you rather have Glenn Foley come in? Who was it that would come in for Sam Darnold? I can't even. It seems like that long ago. The damage to me is so severe that I can't even remember who used to come in for Sam Darnold. But it wasn't a good thing. Okay, so let's move on to the next. And I don't count Modine's comments as the things that drive me crazy or make me mad. Modine, it's a different thing. He's a different entity. He's a different species, okay? I'm not saying that as an insult. He's a big supporter of the channel, fills up the viewership, makes comments on my videos. So I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying he's a different He's a different animal. You know what I mean? Like, he's an old-time burn-scarred Jets fan, and his way of protecting himself as a fan is to stay negative, expect the worst, and assume everything is bad and wrong. Jin Pak is here. What's going on? It's your Sunday night fix. I appreciate that. Keep joining on Sunday nights, Jin Pak. Good to see you here. And did anybody new come in? I see Modine is here. Of course, that's why I mentioned him. I see you out there, Modine. I see you. I see the Einstein haircut. So let's get something real. I'm going to get to the number 2 thing. And this wasn't even a Facebook thing. This was one of our listeners. I'm not going to say, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but it's just an example of someone who is making a judgment without knowing whether they heard it somewhere or they're making their own opinion, but they are saying things that just aren't true. And then the backup is, well, I've been a fan for a long time. I don't care if you've been watching football for 50 years. It's like a bad teacher saying, well, I've been teaching for 23 years. Well, you've been doing a shitty job for 23 years, right? Well, it's the same thing. You can watch football for 50 years. It doesn't mean you know what you're looking at. I mean, you might understand the rules of the game. You might see the obvious things. That wide receiver is pretty good. That wide receiver drops passes. But you don't understand the systems by that. That takes education. Like someone, you need to, what's your background to understand the role of each player on defense and what's a successful rep versus an unsuccessful rep. Because if you're looking at an edge and you say the only successful rep is getting a pressure or a sack, you'd be wrong. Because sometimes that edge's job is to literally absorb their guy and control that guy and be able to pop out and seal the edge. And sometimes that's their assignment. So I don't care how long you've been watching football, okay? And this is what makes me bring up this particular point. And it's not only this one person who commented on it. I see a lot of people saying it, and it's such utter nonsense. And that statement is people who are saying that CJ Mosley is washed, that he's not good. Okay, I'm controlling myself now because even saying it out loud, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Is he as fast as he once was? No. Does he get the dominating pick sixes and strip fumbles? No. Do you know why? Because he's not playing in a 3-4. He's no longer rushing the quarterback or going into the backfield. That's not his job. It's not his job. It's not his job. Every play, I can't say it's not his job. It's not his job every play. It might be his job on some plays, but it's not his job on every play. Sometimes on a running play, his job is to absorb the lead tackle. That's his job. It's on a chalkboard. You take the lead blocker. Don't let him get to the second level or behind you. So the safety could come in and make a clean hit. There's actually complicated plays drawn up. So just because he doesn't meet your definition of what you want him to do on every play, you can't tell me in the speed of a football game that you're able to detect what the play was and what his role on the play. Because even Joe Blewett, Play Like a Jet, my own friend Dom C, even they look at all 22. Even they break down plays and watch the play over and over. And they'll tell you, I'm not really sure if he's at fault because I don't know what the play was. I don't know what his responsibility was. If his responsibility was to slide off that tackle and be the main guy to make the play, he failed. But if his responsibility was to take up and absorb that tackler so somebody else can go in, then he didn't mess up. So you don't know. You don't have the information. Now, if CJ Mosley was done, if he wasn't the guy we think he is, then Saleh wouldn't lie and say he was. We would have made more effort to get enough. We wouldn't have restructured him in a way that keeps him around longer. We wouldn't have done that. We wouldn't still put the sticker on his helmet. We want to win. We're not doing it to be nice. You think he's shy? I don't want to tell CJ he's not really good. Let's just keep it a secret and lie about it. And if you think you know more than Robert Saleh about who's good and who's not good, then you're really on crack. Then you really don't know what you're talking about. Because if you think you know more than a defensive coordinator that's led and built top 5 NFL defenses, what are you doing on your ass at home? How come you're not working for an NFL team? So you don't know more than he does. And he's not lying, and it's not politics, and he's not trying to make it look all friendly. If he thought that CJ Mosley stunk, we would have been out there getting a better linebacker to play in the middle. We would have, because we're going for the Super Bowl this year, where this is a real thing. We're not going to worry about who get paid what. Oh, this guy's making money. There's nothing we could do, so let's just pretend we're happy with him. So, I mean, to sit there and say he's washed, if you want to say he's not what he once was in his prime when we got him out of Baltimore, fine. He might have lost a half step. But what you're not seeing is he's the freaking quarterback of our defense. So it doesn't make sense. How can you have a defense that's top 5 and say that the leader of that defense, the guy out there telling everyone what to do, literally the quarterback of the defense, we go from the 32nd best defense in the NFL to the number 4 defense in the NFL, and you're going to sit there and say the guy mainly responsible, the quarterback, the coach on the field, the leader of the defense is washed? Really? Does that make any sense? Does it make any sense? Think about what you're saying. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to be valuable to your football team. He might not do it by making the flashy plays. That's okay. Quincy Williams makes plenty of flashy plays and tackles behind the line. And I'm sure you'll see Sherwood doing it. And I'm sure you'll see Whitehead get a few big hits behind the line of scrimmage. Fine. We need everybody to do what we're asking them to do. What we're asking CJ Mosley to do is to be the general. So if he's washed and he's not good and you wouldn't rank him high, our defense is in a lot of trouble. And I really don't know how we were the number 4 defense in the NFL if the leader of the defense, it's just as important as quarterback. It's just as important from the defensive perspective. So that's like having a top 5 offense in the NFL and complaining about your quarterback. Give me a break. Give me a break. And I'm not talking about wanting a piece of your Kit Kat bar. I mean, we got to be serious, people. We got to be serious. Anyway, I think I saw something come in. We call it a super chat. Where do I find it? Oh, I can go right here. I can take a shortcut. Go right here, and then I can highlight it. Tony Alexio comes in with a super chat and says, Quan played great against the screen. What linebacker we have can do this, or our weakness on defense? Now, I agree. Our guys weren't executing on screen passes, but I think we have to remember that, that is part of the sacrifice of the way we want to run our defense. Like if we want to sit there and have our 4 guys go crazy for the quarterback, we're more susceptible to being let in and for running by. I think we've gotten better. I think we got a little bit better than last year. Not good enough, but I think we got a little bit better against the screen last year than we did 2 years ago, which was horrendous. And I believe so far we've looked, preseason is just preseason. It's looked a little bit better. I think it's going to get better. I think if our defensive line does the job and we're penetrating and creating a lot of disruption, it's going to be harder to execute those screen passes because our linebackers will be able to come forward. So when they let the guys in, that's just picking it up fast enough. And again, there are different people have different jobs. Usually those screen passes aren't in the middle. Remember that CJ Mosley is the guy in the middle. He's usually playing more the center of the field. He has much more traffic in front of him to get to that screen pass. He might be the one yelling screen pass to everybody else. He might be the guy that's helping get Sherwood in the right position or Quincy Williams in the right position. Quincy Williams in the right position or bring up the safety in the right position. It doesn't mean he has to be the guy that makes the tackle, and it doesn't mean that he failed on the play. Because if the screen passes to the left, it's much harder for the middle linebacker to get there, right, on a screen where the offensive linemen are running out. Or, his job might be he's the line of scrimmage. Like he's the guy that's making the tackle somewhere before it's more than the 5-yard gain. Like he's that second level. Again, it depends on the design of the defense. His job might be take up the block so the guy who comes to the second level, bounce off, and take a direct route to where that guy is going. And then he makes that tackle 5-6 yards downfield, and we're thinking, no, he was late. He wasn't late. Somebody else messed up who was supposed to tackle him before. Or sometimes their play call beats our play call, and 7-yard gain for them is the best outcome for us. And we're lucky it wasn't worse. But do we have to – that's a coaching thing. Because our players are good, and they're all playing well. It's just a matter of scheme and figuring out how you're going to do it. Now, look, we're designs where We're going to get hurt by the short pass, by some screen passes. We're going to give some 4-yard, 5-yard quick outs. We play zone. We do it. You see the frustration in Sauce Gardner when he throws a guy out of bounds and how pissed he is because he would love to play man right up on the guy. He doesn't want a guy to even get 5 yards against him, but it's not our defense. It's not the way our defense is. It's not the way we're designed, right? And I promise you that what's going to make our defense more effective and this style of defense is by having a guy like Aaron Rodgers, by being a team that can get a lead or be in the game or get ahead by a touchdown, 10 points, being a team that can strike and score. It puts more pressure on the other team on the clock, right? Suddenly they don't want that 8-minute drive against us. In the beginning of the game, they do. And then as long as we hold, they settle for a field goal or we manage to stop them at the 40, 50-yard line. Even if we started our 10, we got Aaron Rodgers, we'll be in much better position to flip the field position again, right? But even if we don't do that, we give up a field goal. The idea is we're supposed to hold, right? Now we get the ball and we score more than them, either match them or score a touchdown. It gets to a point in the game where they need to score more quickly, and they can't do these short little things. They can't do these little screen passes. They have to start looking downfield. That's the art. That's the way. And it's just, you might not agree with that. Theoretically, you might be against that approach, and that's okay because there's multiple approaches in the NFL. But this is a solid defense. Okay. If you watch the 49ers, you'll see similar things, right? The reality is a lot of teams give up yardage on screen passes. Screen passes are typically very effective. You just can't go to them too many times because once the other team figures it out, it backfires. Well, we weren't successful enough. We allowed them to go to it too many times. I'm looking for an improvement in there, but I'm not going to put that on one player like, oh, we need Quan to stop it, right? We don't know. We got to see Sherwood. Sherwood's very quick. He's very fast. He's built. Remember, his organic natural position is safety. So he is a cover type, quick, fast, sleek linebacker to replace Quan. So we're not going to know if he's better or worse than Quan until the season starts. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And I will say that obviously, Robert Saleh and the coaching staff believe that Sherwood is a suitable replacement for Quan Alexander. Snowball, it's good to see you. John Hepburn, good to see you out there. Welcome, guys. So anyway, that took me off track a little bit. So that's my beef with the whole CJ Mosley. CJ Mosley is fine. Is he in his prime? No. Is he where he needs to be on our team? Is this the right time for him to be on our team? Hell yeah. Believe me, the last thing we want is CJ Mosley not being out there. We want him out there. Okay, it's a good thing that he's on our team. And he's certainly not a C linebacker. It's anything but. He's the strongest linebacker we have. He's our best linebacker. He's been our most consistent linebacker that we've had as far as his responsibilities and doing his job. Now, you could argue that the linebacker room wasn't as good as I prospected in my video today. That's fine. You know, I forgot exactly what I called them. I think I said B-, and now I think they're a B or something. If you want to say they were a C+ last year, fine. Fine. You know, that's like you're entitled to your opinion. But to sit there and say that CJ Mosley is washed is just silly. I mean, are we Jet fans or not? I mean, you're putting down your own players that are good. I mean, let the Miami fans say that CJ Mosley is washed. I mean, let them say that. But why are we saying that about our own team when it's not true? You know, there's no way our coaching staff would allow him to have the role he has if he was washed. Believe me, this is our year. We have to win. We're not playing games. We're not doing anybody any favors. We're not giving out any handouts. Now, here's a third thing. This drives me crazy. It might be Modine. I don't know if he's being serious about it. But on Facebook, somebody really said this. They said that it was a mistake to get Aaron Rodgers. They said that it was a mistake and that it was stupid that JD got Aaron Rodgers and that we've given up the future and that he's overrated and that it's another guy it's Brett Favre 2.0. There was someone on Facebook saying that, and he was being serious. He wasn't being a troll. It was a Jet fan in a Jet group saying that. I cannot express the stupidity. The stupidity. I understand when we signed Aaron Rodgers, when we traded for him in the very beginning, if you're a person that wanted to sit there and look at the worst case scenario and believe, that Aaron Rodgers was a bad idea, I guess, okay, to each his own. But after this training camp, after the impact that he's been making on this team, how can anybody that's called a Jet fan be against what we did by getting him? He has impacted every part of our team in a positive way. He has been the dream leader. The dream leader. He has been a fantastic leader. He's been a great role model. He has picked up the spirit of the locker room, the mentality of it, the confidence, the players believing. Like, the greatest thing to happen to this organization in such a long time is Aaron Rodgers. And if you're a Jet fan that can't see that, then you're never going to be happy. You might be happy when we win the Super Bowl. If we win the Super Bowl, I'm going to be confident and say we're going to win a Super Bowl and then be happy, but then you ruined it for yourself because you destroyed the journey. And I'm telling you, part of this is the journey. The journey to winning a Super Bowl is almost as beautiful and fun and memorable as actually winning the Super Bowl. Because, after you cry and celebrate and jump up and down for a while, then what do? You're just kind of standing there, hoarse breath. The hangover kicks in from all the drinking you were doing. And then you're sitting there and it's like, I guess we got to go to bed now. Yes, we won. And then it's just kind of over. But maybe I'm underselling it. It's going to be great. But the journey, the actual winning, the watching it come together, to watch ourselves play championship football. Now, I see somebody out there let me grab that for somebody's asking me, Bernard Nixon, who do you think is better, quarterback, Favre or Rodgers? I don't want to disrespect Brett Favre at all. I think Brett Favre was a great quarterback. I think it's a style thing. Like, what do you like, right? I don't blame Brett Favre fans. I mean, he was more of a risk taker, right? More of a big play, like gunslinging quarterback. And it's okay to love that, man. Like, it's okay to be into that and and in certain teams, maybe, I don't know, there might be certain offenses where that works better, where it's better to have that guy. And then Aaron Rodgers is probably the most accurate quarterback in NFL history if you go by touchdown to interception ratio, right? So he factually has the best touchdown to interception ratio in the history of the NFL. That's a pretty important stat. It's a pretty important stat to have. That stat is pretty impressive. It's like strikeouts to walks for a pitcher, right? Anything can happen when the ball gets into the field. There could be luck or bad luck, right? But the one thing that doesn't lie is strikeouts to walks. Well, it's hard to say that touchdowns to interceptions can lie, because for every few touchdowns means obviously a certain amount of snaps. You have to play a lot to throw 3 touchdowns. And if you throw a certain amount of touchdowns with so few interceptions, that means you're throwing a lot of touchdowns, which means a lot of passes that are not being intercepted. And when you're better than that, and you have a better ratio than any player that's ever played in the NFL, it's hard for me to put Brett Favre above Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to sit there and say, obviously some people want to talk. I won't talk about situation or anything like that. Tom Brady's the GOAT. I'm a big Joe Montana guy, guys like that. But Aaron Rodgers, to me, he's right there in that tier. And I think getting a Super Bowl for us will end the discussion. He wins the Super Bowl for us, he's right up there with Peyton Manning. I think that's the only separator right now. Like, if you talk about a guy like Joe Montana or Peyton Manning, the reason, even though Aaron Rodgers is more accurate and has arguments to say he's as good as them, I think another important factor is actually getting rings and winning championships. And if he was to win a Super Bowl, if he was to come to New York and win a Super Bowl for the New York Jets, I think you put Aaron Rodgers in the category of Peyton Manning at that point. I think that you put him in that bucket. Not that he's far behind him now anyway, but I think a Super Bowl would really cement that. And I think it would cement any argument of who's better, Favre or Rodgers. Right now, as it stands, I'm not going to think somebody's an idiot for thinking Favre is better. I'll respect that opinion. But I personally think that Aaron Rodgers is better because I'm more about accuracy and consistency. Yeah. And I'm going to die on that hill. Yeah, that's how I kind of felt about it, Paulie. That was a Roger hater, and but this was on a Jet site, like a Jet follower on a Jet Facebook group. So it's like, and that's why I was the angry, hungry Jet fan in the thumbnail for this video, because it just pisses me off to read that stuff. I mean, I almost want to I almost feel like deleting every Jets Facebook group. I don't know what it is about Facebook, but the worst Jet fans, the dumbest, most outrageous takes I've ever seen in my life are like, they all go to Facebook. It's like they have a club. Like, we're the DDD club. We don't know anything. And where can we go? Let's go to Facebook and start a club and say all the dumbest things we could possibly say about this team. Because I'm not even done yet. Wait till you hear this one. I got more that I read this week. I see Patty Grimes is out there. What's going on, Patty Grimes? I remember that name. You've been here before. What has Rodgers done for the Jets this season? Well, he hasn't done anything for the Jets this season yet in a game because we haven't started the season yet. If you're saying what has he done for the Jets this season in the locker room, he's done a lot. If you can't see that, I can't. There's certain things, feelings, and emotions that can't be verbalized easy. But if you can't see the confidence and the joy in the locker room and the players, then it's funny that someone that you would say, let's revisit this in a month. Like, Rodgers is not going to be good. I mean, it's so fucking funny. like really, like, what makes someone so nasty? Like, go root for another football team. Why root for this football team if you're that negative? That's somebody who wants him to fail so he can come back and say, I told you so. Like, rather than win. That's not a football fan. Like, I can understand if you say, I really hope he does well, but I'm not sure, man. That's fine. But sitting there saying, let's see and let's revisit in a month, just stupid. It's just stupid. And it's also, you don't know anything about football. You don't have no idea what you're doing or watching. Because if you watch him, even last year, his worst year in years, was still better than anything we ever had. I mean, what would you rather have? Zach Wilson still playing, throwing 155 yards a game with a 58% completion rate? Is that what you want? I mean, give me a break. I mean, the guy was still the best quarterback, even if he has the same year he did last year. And there's no reason to think he's going to have the best of the year he had last year, because this year he's going to be healthy. He's going to be healthy and have a better supporting cast. He's got his offensive coordinator back. He's enjoying life better. And what has he done for the team this year? Listen to the coach. Do you even watch a press conference? Do you watch Jets One Drive? Do you watch and listen to anything the players are saying? You don't think it's important that the players believe that they're going to win? You don't think it's important that players believe in their quarterback? That they believe they can contend? They did not believe that deep in the deepest part of their souls. They didn't believe it last year. That's why they lost the last 7 games of the year. Because they didn't believe. Or last 6 games. Because they didn't believe. Now we have a team that believes. It doesn't matter if it's the Aaron Rodgers for last year that only throws 30 touchdowns, let's say, and 6 interceptions for 3,800 yards. They believe now. They believe that would be the best quarterback performance we'd had in forever. So to sit there and say, what has he done? Open your eyes. What has he done? Do you have ears? Do you listen to a press conference? Do you know anything? Do you know anything? You take even a moment. And I don't know, get some therapy if you can't see that. If you're so blinded by hate and anger and negativity, then go get help. Go talk to somebody. Because I don't care if you don't like him. I don't care if you don't like him as a person, even though he's been the perfect person since he's gotten here. Why would any Jet fan want to be negative? He's come here. He looks great in practice. The players love him. Everything looks great. And you're going to sit there and say, let's revisit this? He's going to be bad, I tell you. Then you're not a Jet fan. You may say you're a Jet fan, but you're not really a Jet fan. Because you know what a fan is? Look it up in the dictionary. Look at what we're supposed to be. You're supposed to support your team. I know that. Who am I to define who's a fan, right? Well, I think I know that one criteria. You're supposed to actually support your team and want them to do well instead of being an asshole because like some shitty life thing has happened to you. You're angry at him or angry at someone else for some reason. And you don't know how to take out your anger. Get a therapist. Figure it out. But don't shit on everybody else. Don't shit on our team and shit on us being happy and excited and having to be that asshole that's swearing we're going to lose anyway and can't wait to come back and say, oh, I'm proving you wrong. What kind of nonsense is that? Is that what we are? Is that what being a fan is? What if every fan thought like that? What if every fan felt like that? Walking around and saying stupid shit like that. Being anti-Jets. Pretending you're a Jet fan. Just put your freaking New England Patriot hat on then. Put your Patriot hat on. Save us all the time. Go to MetLife in front of all of us in the parking lot and scream that Aaron Rodgers stinks or he's washed up or he's not going to be good. And tell everybody. So you'll see in 4 weeks. See how everybody treats you. And understand the way they treat you, they're not being rude. They're being realistic. Go see what happens to you and understand the reason it happens to you, there's a very good reason. What kind of nonsense is that? I mean, obviously, we got a guy who came from Facebook to be on here. Save that shit for Facebook, man. Save the stupidity and the stupid takes for Facebook. We're here to talk about real things. This is where the adults are. We're here to have adult conversations, not childish nonsense conversations, pretending that Aaron Rodgers has not been a blessing for this organization, that it's not been amazing what we've gotten out of him since he's gotten here. For the first time in our lives as Jet fans, no one's laughing at us anymore for believing we're real. They're saying it. I'm not talking about the Patty Grime version of the other fans, the other dummies that don't know anything. Look at all the experts out there. Go to the real New England fans, the real Buffalo fans, that are real football fans, that are intelligent. The ones I talk to all the time when I do my crossover content shows and interview Buffalo Bill fans and interview New England people. Do you know what they say about us? Oh, you guys are going to be tough, man. You guys are good now. That's what they say. Don't worry about the idiots on Twitter, the 3% on Twitter, or whatever it is, that say, oh, no, the Jets still stink. Okay? That they're not representing the majority. Everybody knows we're for real. It's not just Jet fans. Everyone with a brain knows we're for real. No one that knows about football doesn't know that we're not real. They all know we're real. All real fans know what our defense was last year. I'm surrounded by 49er and Raider fans. They all know. When I go to a bar, there might be one loser that says, you stink. And everybody else in the bar says, dude, you got a team this year, bro. Wow. How did that happen? How did you go from that team? How did that team do that? Didn't they just suck? How the hell are you guys that good? When did that happen? That's what everybody says that to me. I wear my Jets jersey or Jets hat. You have no idea what people are saying to me. Because they know. Because real football fans aren't stupid. Especially if you've been watching the preseason. Does Aaron Rodgers look done to you in any way? This Jets team as a whole matches up to any team. Yeah. I mean, there's no game that you're going to tell me that we don't have a chance to win. I don't know what our final record is going to be. Okay? Because we're Jet fans. The injuries happen. We got to stay healthy, knock on wood. The sky falls, bad breaks, bad calls. We could be in 3 games, 4 games that come down to the last freaking second, and it goes against us every time. So I don't know what the record is going to be. I just know that no one is going to convince me when I look at the talent on this team that we don't have a legitimate chance to win every single game we play. And guess what? Our opponents know it too. Kansas City Chiefs know it. The fans know it. They think they're going to win, and they should. But they know that's not an easy game, and they know they can lose that game. Just like Buffalo, and just like my friend who's an Eagles fan. Does he believe in his team that he's going to win? Yes. Does he think it's an easy win and the Jets have no chance to win? No way. He knows it's a game. He knows it. Because he knows what Aaron Rodgers has done if you know how to watch football. If you watched last year when healthy what Breece Hall is, you know. If you watch what Becton's done since he's back, if he stays healthy, and that's a big if, but if he stays healthy, you could see what he does. He does something that no other offensive lineman I've ever seen does. He throws people 5 yards. He pushes them out of the way like they're rag dolls. It's like a man playing with little kids. It's ridiculous how good he is. He just has to stay healthy. But we have all real guys. Dwayne Brown is a seasoned veteran. AVT is a stud. If Becton stays healthy, that's 3/5 of our offensive line that are studs. Not to mention Laken Tomlinson and McGovern. And McGovern we know is solid. We know exactly what we get from him. And now you're going to stick Cook and Breece Hall behind them? And you're going to give Aaron Rodgers Garrett Wilson? Give me a break. How does anybody say we don't compete against anybody in this league? Oh, I know. Oh, your defense didn't play anyone last year. How stupid. How stupid is that? Detroit didn't count when we held them to nothing until the last freaking drive of the game with no offense. We had no offense. Against New England, 3-3. They won on a punt return when we had no offense at all. You know how many games our defense kept us in the game? And people are saying, are really going to sit there and say we didn't play anyone? Really? I mean, do you have to look very hard at the Jets defense to know we're for real? Do you have to look at Salah's coaching history? Is it a surprise that Robert Saleh is coaching a top 5 defense? Is it coming from left field? Look at where he's been. Look at his track record. Why is it a surprise? Why would it be a surprise that when Robert Saleh has defensive edges that put pressure, and a guy like Quinnen in the middle, and a guy like Sauce Gardner and Reed shutting down the other team's receivers, why would it be so hard to believe that Robert Saleh, who's done it, proven over and over again in his past, would make this a top 5 defense? That other teams, that's going to be the thing that people grab? Oh, you didn't play anyone? Really? Let them grasp at that straw. Let that be the straw that people grasp at. That we didn't play anyone and our defense is not that good. Oh, let them grasp on that straw. I hope the teams we play think that way. I really do. I can't wait until you see the truth. You want to revisit Aaron Rodgers in 4 weeks? Please, I'll be here on this channel, same place, at the same time. I hope to see you here. And I'm not talking about record. I know the first 4 games are going to be crazy hard. But I still think we'll be 3-1. And if we're 2-2, that's okay. Because guess what? If after the first 6 games of the year, we're 3-3, we're winning 12 games. If we're 4-2, we're winning 13 games. You heard it here first. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. But you let people sit there and doubt our defense. I hope people doubt our defense. I hope people are saying we're not that good. I love it when people say that. Good. Please, I hope our opponents are thinking that. I hope our opponents aren't taking us that seriously. I hope our opponents feel that we're overrated. That would be beautiful. That's another thing. You know what? That's a great point. What did he do for the Jets? He gave us back $35 million to get other talent. We can sign now if he's traded. If Michael Evans or Devontae Adams or any of these guys are going to be traded before the trade deadline because their teams don't do well and they want to have a fire sale. We are now in a position to be in the hunt and to have the financial ammunition to make a deal for a player like that because A-Rod gave us back $35 million. Thank you, sports. I totally even forgot about that. He unselfishly literally handed us back $35 million. That's what he did. And we know from Tom Brady how that's panned out, how well that's worked for teams when you have a quarterback that's willing to do that. When you have a quarterback that's willing to say, I want to win, so I'm not going to take every single dollar you have. I'm going to get a recording to create my Shadow Realm. I'm going to steal it from Matt O'Leary, but I don't have it ready yet. I mean, I could have said it in my own voice. I should have said, get the fuck to the bathroom. Put him in the bathroom. I think my thing might be, now you can't leave. I love that line. It's a great line. But let me tell you something. Anybody who says that, that's the 100% right thing, Jim Pock. We are in every single game. There is not a football game that the Jets will play where we have to go in thinking we can't win. We should be going in believing that we have a good chance to win every single game. And there's no reason why. I'm not saying we're going 17-0, but if you look at it from a game-by-game perspective, each individual game is a game we should go in thinking we can win. Rural life with the Rosses. I see you out there. Come on, UA's family vlog. Good evening. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you guys forever. I got to go over to your channel so I can see the kids. Old friends of mine, people. Old friends. Good old friends. The kind of old friends that put a smile on your face. I'm looking forward to seeing them. One day I'm going to be back in that Virginia area, and I'm going to get to see those kids and how big they are. I'm not going to be able to pick them up and hug them anymore because they probably are too big. They're going to be too heavy, and I'm going to hurt I'm an old man now. I'm going to hurt my back. But good to see you guys. Namath had a ton of characters. The fur coat, the partying, the interceptions. Then he won the Super Bowl, and it all stopped. Oh, he had a detractors. Yeah. Well, I mean, Namath was his own animal, wasn't he? So, yeah. I mean, Namath had one Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers already has his Super Bowl, and now he's going to go for a second. And what's nice is that Namath is in his corner, so he's giving him all kinds of good advice. Yeah. Every fan of our rivals that is serious. I'm not talking about goons who just are talking trash. But when you have a real conversation, have more respect for us than they've ever had in my memory. Look, I've been watching this team for 40 plus years. The three best teams we've ever put on the field. Well, I'll say the four best teams we ever put on the field: 1982, 83. 1998, 2009 or 2010, whatever, those 2 years, right? That team and this team. And then there's the Super Bowl team. So it's in any order. I don't want to argue the orders, but top five, if you take the five best teams we ever put on the field. I have a feeling that after we have a chance to prove it, that this year's team is going to jump right up there with the 69 Super Bowl winning team. That's what I think. But, we got to go out and prove it. I get it. There you are. Let's see. Good to see you as well. Yeah. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope my boy Zachary's doing good. I hope my little princess baby's doing good. I remember when she was in TK. Oh, my God. Or kindergarten. Dwayne Brown played well last year with one arm. He has two healthy arms. Watch out. I know. And we know what he is. Like, he's one of those guys, like there are certain guys that just don't age. There are guys that just will play until he can't play anymore, but he'll always play at that level. We don't need him to play Pro Bowl level. We need him to play solid. And because now he's healthy, if he's a little bit better than he was last year, we're in good shape. Because he was pretty good last year. It wasn't great. Like what's going to help having him healthy is better run blocking. You know what I mean? Like better run blocking and everything like that. And maybe he'll get beat like a little bit less, They are growing. I know they are. I'm growing too. I'm growing old. Raw Power is here. When your leader and future Hall of Famer is that vested, it will raise the level of the other players. Nobody will want to let them down. Exactly. And you already see it. They adore him. They love him. There's no way they're going to want to let him down. There's no way. You even got Randall Cobb saying it to them, saying, don't make him say something to you twice. Don't walk away when he's talking. He's like telling them, don't blow this guy up because this guy is fire. Did you see him against the Giants? And even in the scrimmage, how passionate he is. And then when he tells Garrett Wilson, he sits down, he takes a breath, and he goes, 17, come into my office. This guy is fire right now. And I promise you, he did not have this fire the last couple of years in Green Bay. He didn't. He simply didn't. When you go back and look at his interviews, he didn't have the fire because he didn't like them. He didn't like them. He wasn't happy. He wasn't having fun. That's the Aaron Rodgers we have now. And he keeps saying it. He's not going to say anything negative to Green Bay. So he's not going to say, oh, I didn't have fun there. I didn't like it there. But every time they talk to him for the Jets, he's saying, I'm having fun. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. I'm fun. This is fun. I might play 3 more years if it's this much fun. What do you think that is saying? He's saying, I'm happy again. Anybody who's ever switched jobs to a job from an unhappy environment to a happy environment understands that. It's not that far-fetched. We're human. We do better when we're happy. We do better when we're motivated. It's no different for athletes. What's with the clickbait title? You're better than that, Jeremy. What are you talking about, clickbait title? It's not clickbait title. I said I was an angry Jeff fan because I'm doing my rant. How is that a clickbait title? What is he talking about? Aaron Rodgers was a mistake, yes, because that was what was on the Facebook post that I'm talking about. Somebody went onto Facebook and said Aaron Rodgers was a mistake. So I made that the title. You know what makes it not clickbait? The question mark. I didn't say Aaron Rodgers was a mistake. I said Aaron Rodgers was a mistake. I mean, look, what does a question mark mean? Doesn't the question mark put question into the statement? And by the way, clickbait, everybody, just to give a little 101 class, clickbait is not making a title that might make people want to click and watch your video. Clickbait is lying. It's when you mislead people. Clickbait is when you say Stephen A makes Jet Rant, and then you open up the video and Stephen A is not in the video. That's clickbait. Clickbait is what if I would say Aaron Rodgers is injured. No question mark, just Aaron Rodgers is injured. Clickbait. Right? Do you see the difference? Because that's a lie. I'm lying to get people to come in. That's clickbait. Right? But if you were watching my whole show or you watch my video, right? If you watch my fucking video and you watch the fucking work I'm putting into this, you would fucking know that I clearly said Aaron Rodgers on Facebook. Somebody said Aaron Rodgers was a mistake. And I'm now posing the question, and I'm the angry fan. I can't believe I have to explain this, doing my rant about why he wasn't a mistake. Do you get that? So don't patronize me and tell me I'm better than that. That's fucking patronizing bullshit. If you got somewhere else to be, go somewhere else. But don't patronize me. I don't need that shit. I'm better than that. That's not clickbait. Wanting people to watch my channel is not clickbait. Wanting to, if you're mad at that, go to freaking YouTube and complain to them. Because they're the ones that fucking reward people for clickbait. They're the ones that force us to put attractive titles or blame human nature, because that's what people click on. People click on titles that catch their interest. What am I supposed to do? Try not to succeed? Let me try to come up with a title that doesn't get people to want to watch my show. But I don't lie. And that's why it's not clickbait, because everything I say is honest. And I told everybody here who's watched this show knows exactly how that title connects right to the content of this show and how it's not clickbait. I'm sorry that I didn't give you a full explanation of the freaking title in the title. I'm sorry that I gave you something to lure you in to find out what it meant. If that's a crime, or if I'm better than that, maybe I want to talk to 5 people. But go to every other freaking person. You're picking on me? Go to the people, go to the Jets content providers that have 20,000 subscribers and look at the titles of their video. And then you're going to blame me for wanting to come up with a catchy title? Really? Really? I mean, give me a break. I mean, and it's true. It's like, get your own title and talk that. If you know how much freaking effort we put into this, how much blood, sweat, and tears I put into this channel. And I have to read that shit. Unbelievable. Thank you, Tony. I am always happy. Inside, I'm happy. Believe me. As soon as I leave and shut this thing down and cook my dinner and I'm eating my barbecue chicken, I'm happy. So don't worry about it. Barbecue chicken's on the menu tonight. I even got mashed potatoes. So I'm happy. I'm just not happy when I'm hungry. So obviously I'm hungry. Yeah. There we go. Clickbait was, he said he had yourself. I was like, yes. And it's really green bean. Some guy, you're a hell of a guy, some guy. I love you, man. You're the best. That's why I love you guys. Because you guys can find humor and make everything better. I'm trying to make this, bring that up. Cool. Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting statement. Hold on, one second. Rivers got 0 rings, and guys say he's a Hall of Famer. You know what's interesting to me about that when I think of Philip Rivers, because my brother, lived in San Diego for a long time. He rooted for the Chargers pretty hard for a while. I mean, he's a Jets fan, but he lived there. He went to a lot of the games. And what's weird is you can't put okay, so there's no conversation. There's no conversation for that you can have where you take this, where you could argue that Eli Manning makes the Hall of Fame or doesn't make the Hall of Fame and that Rivers does. Like if Eli Manning, I mean, not Peyton, I'm sorry, Eli Manning. If Eli Manning doesn't go to the Hall of Fame, then you can't put Rivers because they've had very similar careers. I mean, Rivers is a little better, like without Super Bowls, right? If you just go by regular season and stats, I think Rivers is better. But Eli has the 2 Super Bowls. So the crazy playoff wins, both those Super Bowls were wild card 3-game playoff runs. He beat the Patriots twice. He beat them when they were 16-0 in the regular season. Okay. So that's I think the thing that would have to be agreed on. The thing that we would have to agree on is that if Eli Manning doesn't make the Hall of Fame, then you can't put in Rivers. Now, if Eli makes the Hall of Fame, now there's an argument for Rivers. Depending on what you value, you have an argument for Rivers. Because even though he didn't win Super Bowls, it's very arguable that Rivers is better than Eli. Right? And he just didn't have the team. But that doesn't sound that accurate because I feel like the Chargers always had a really good team. I think they were always solid. I think that the real issue with the Chargers for Philip Rivers is that he never had the right coach. I think that they've had the poorest ensemble of coaches since they fired Schottenheimer. They had a great coach, and the franchise worst mistake in their history was getting rid of Schottenheimer, and then they threw it all away. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard. I have to look at the numbers and other people who got into the Hall of Fame. I'm not an expert on who deserves to go to the Hall of Fame, although I do feel I was an expert to say that Klecko deserved to be in the Hall of Fame and that it was ridiculous it took so long for him to get there because Joe Klecko was a all-pro at 3 different positions, and that in itself, he was also part of the group that started and created the sack, which is one of the most exciting things in football now. So, wow. Thank you. That rant. I'm glad you liked my rant. Glad you like my rant. You know, I got to thank all the people who bring the anger out of me too. The people who say the things that upset me, because that's the only way for it to be real and authentic and organic, is that somebody says something that pisses me off. Yeah, there are certain things that piss me off. Like saying that Rodgers was a mistake pisses me off, but also criticizing the way I run my channel and saying that I make clickbait. Because you know why? Because I actually don't make clickbait. That's why it's so upsetting. Because I actually work really hard to be honest and not do clickbait. And I watch people get bigger than me and have more success than me. Maybe because they're better than me. I'm not bitching. I'm not complaining. I don't have any high image of myself. But I watch other channels grow so much bigger than mine, putting fucking clickbait on constantly. Like they know it and they say it. And they're doing clickbait. And I sit here and I try to take the higher road and I don't do clickbait. But do I think about the title really hard and try to do it as in the way that's going to get the most possible people to click on my videos? Yes, because I'm taking the time to make the videos. So of course I want people to click on it. So if some idiot on Facebook is going to give me the ammunition by saying Aaron Rodgers was a mistake, I say thank you very much, because now I could use that as my title. And I'm not lying, because someone really said it. And now I get to talk about that somebody said it. Look at the titles of TV shows, right? What do? They take one of the main parts of what the show was about, and it's the title, right? So one of the things that this show was about today was Aaron Rodgers being a mistake, according to some guy on Facebook. So I put it on there. Now, if I didn't have the question mark there, that would be very different, right? Because I'm not being honest about what the video is about, because I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers was a mistake. I'm misleading you. But the question mark is the question mark. What does a question mark mean? A question mark means it's not a statement. It's a question. I mean, what did I do that's clickbait? I don't understand. I just don't get it. Eric Craig is in here. Now I'm neglecting people. Sorry, I don't mean to neglect people. Just like anything in life, you have the dumbasses who want to blame you for their misery. Well, I mean, saying that Aaron Rodgers is bad or whatever, No, it's okay. I'm upset in a good way to be upset. That's like the purpose of the show. You know what I mean, Alien Face? It's like, I said it right? Alien Face? That's what Green Bean says? I'm just saying, like, that's what this show is for me to be defensive and me to be angry and yell at people who say things I don't like, Yeah. Well, yeah. That's true. That's true. The people that are like that guy that's hating on Aaron Rodgers and saying, we'll see in 4 weeks, is probably very negative to everything in life. Like I had a friend like that before I moved to California 5 years ago, right? Graduate grad school. I'm living in Brooklyn and all I want to do is get out. I'm one of those people, right? I'm a person who didn't want to stay in Brooklyn like his whole life. And there's nothing wrong with staying in Brooklyn. I mean, there are parts of Brooklyn I will miss every day of my life. Brooklyn is in my blood. But I wanted to live in other things. I wanted to have, everybody's different. I wanted to have a different kind of life. I wanted to live in different places and have different experiences in different places, where some people are very happy being traditional, staying in their city they love, maybe traveling. I wanted to live in other places. And my brother worked in California and I loved it. And I wanted to experience it. And I didn't know if it was ever, if not forever. I don't do forever or not forever. I just do in the moment. And in that moment, I was tired of the cold winters. And I decided I'm going to go to California. And I'm going to get a job in California because it's 1996. So if you go back in history, if you know about 1996, we had a shortage of expert people and the economy, the tech economy was booming again. Apple was resurging and everything was going crazy. Everything was alive. Unix, like middle tier server technology, all this stuff was exploding. Sun Technologies, AOL, Netscape, everything in the world was exploding. So I figure if I can't get a job in the field I'm interested in, there's plenty of jobs. So I tell my friends, I tell some people in this park, I'm like, yeah, I leave in 2 weeks. I'm going, most people are saying good luck and, best of luck and everything. This one dude, Negative about everything. What makes you think you're going to get a job? I was like, I don't know. What makes me think I'm going to get a job? I don't know. I have a master's degree. I'll get a job. He goes, what are you going to do when you get there? I go, well, my brother lives there. He has a big house. He's going to let me live with him when I get there. So, it'll be nice. They're having a baby, their second baby, and there's a 2.5-year-old. So maybe it's good that I'm there. I can help out. They can have a break, and I can babysit a little bit, and then I get a place to stay. What makes you think you're going to like it there? This is the questions I'm getting. I'm like, why am I fucking talking to this person? Like, why am I having this conversation? Like, why can't you just say good luck? I hope everything works out for you. And I came back 3 years later, and I lived in Brooklyn and Staten Island. Then I lived down in North Carolina for a while. Then I went back to California, and I went back a few times because I like to do that. Oh, there's a good job there. Okay. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Oh, met my wife, but I'm going to move back to the East Coast. East Coast, 10 years. Yay. 2016 comes along. Got some good friends in Sacramento. My wife wants to go where it's warmer. Let's go. Let's check it out. Boom. Who knows? I might be back in New York, New Jersey in 2 years from now. I don't make rules. But the reality is some people can't handle that because it's not who they are. And it's just kind of weird. So yes, I agree. Some people are going to be like that in life no matter what you do. So there was more jet stuff. I wasn't done with the actual Jets content. Sorry if I'm skipping you guys, but it's like I keep talking a lot and I fall really, really far behind. So the other thing that got me upset that I read that was like kind of annoying and everything like that was there's still people out there attacking Joe Douglas. Let me answer this one question. So I see a good question. I like it. Where is it? Here it is. What is the timeshare? Is Breece Dalvin? It's weird because originally I thought, you're going to see a lot of Dalvin and they're going to use Breece as little as possible early in camp, like when we were rumors of signing him. But now it seems that Breece Hall might be more ready than Cook is. Because Cook just started practicing last week or so, right? I mean, he's going to have so little time practicing. I think it's going to be, it's really hard to guess. I think that, there will be some go with the hot hand kind of thing. Like, you go with the hot hand. But I think not knowing taking that out of the equation and just saying the game plan. I would think the game plan is 40-40-20. Kind of even like 40-40, and then the other 20 is Michael Carter in certain situations. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking 40-40-20 if Cook is ready. And that's a big question. We don't know if Cook is ready. We don't know if Hall is ready. You can't go back because they're not going to show their hand. It's a poker game. And it doesn't mean they could be being honest or not being honest. We don't know 100%. Like they're not going to share their plan with Buffalo. They might be saying, Breece Hall only if we need him. Or they might be saying Breece Hall 5 carries, Cook 5 carries, and we're going to feature Michael Carter the first game because they're not really ready for all we know. Or one of them might be ready and it's going to be 80%, 70% Breece Hall, 20% Michael Carter, 10% Cook. We don't know. But if they're being honest, I believe Cook could be ready by the beginning of the season because he's not coming back from a major injury. And he's a veteran. So assuming he stayed in shape and assuming Breece Hall is as healthy as they say he is and as he looks, I'm thinking 40-40. And don't think that Michael Carter's not going to play. I think he will. I think he can get 20% of the reps. I do. I could be wrong about that. It might be 45-10. But I wouldn't be shocked if Michael Carter gets 20%. He's versatile. He could do a lot of things. I think he's very underrated by our fans. I think a lot of people are overanalyzing last year, and I think he's a better player than we give him credit for. And I think they're going to want to utilize his skill set in the game as well against Buffalo. I think he's dangerous out of the backfield. I think he's good at deflecting tackles, yardage after contact. I think there's some things he does well. So I think he's going to get to play. Why is this throwback? What are you talking about? The jack is new. Like, this is new. This ain't throwback. This is Phil's newest gift to me. This is the old school one. So Phil Adams is definitely my background now because it's my most prized possessions. But otherwise, what do you mean? Are you talking about my name change back to Jets Chaos? I was always Jets Chaos. I was just Jets Chaos in the Jets Lounge, and I'm still in the Jets Lounge. I'm still partnering with those dudes, but I'm like, I was never not Jet Chaos, but I decided that I want my name back. You know what I mean? Jeremy, my friend, what is going on, Dom C? I was just talking about you before. Some dude was saying that CJ Mosley is washed up and wasn't good last year. So I was like, if you're not a guy like Dom C, then don't tell me that stuff. If you don't watch tape, if you don't analyze, I go, don't say things like that. It's just silly when people make statements like that. You know? Then I had a real life guy in here question whether Aaron Rodgers is going to help the team and we're better with him. And he actually said, we'll revisit this in 4 weeks. He's threatening that he's going to come back in 4 weeks. Like there's any chance we're going to regret having Aaron Rodgers. Everyone just finished our Gunny's draft. Okay, I took Rodgers' second round. Gunny had a draft? Oh, could you? That's really cute. I got to call him up. I didn't know he had a draft. He has a fantasy league. That's great. Who's Leo? Leo. Let's get this season started already. Can we? Can we get this season started? Oh, you missed all the angry rants. How are we doing this evening? Angry is how we're doing. I changed the name back because I realized it was confusing people. When people would get notifications, it would say the Jets Lounge is on live, and people were like, I don't know who that is. And they just wouldn't do anything. But when they see Jets Chaos is on live, they give me a chance, and they actually come in and watch. So I decided I wanted my base back. John Nolte's been gone forever because he didn't know I was still doing videos. He thought that I had left. So I I think it means the name going back to JS Combos. Yeah, that's what I meant. I know he meant that. I'm just messing around. But he said it already, so Okay, I'm looking for something Jets related here. Any questions? Oh, anyway, I wanted to go back to Germany uses barbecue chicken and mashed potatoes. I do need that. I do. I'm really hungry. Bernard, you're a Packers fan. I thought you might be. I'm rooting for y'all hard. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. We welcome you in to root for us. We welcome in all rooters to root for the Jets and to root for Aaron Rodgers. We do. We definitely do. We appreciate it. We could use all the allies we get. But, oh, look, it says Jets Chaos in the Jets Lounge, though. So I did put that in. Look, I'm Jets Chaos, okay? People started using Chaos in their freaking titles of their videos, and I got scared. I thought I was going to lose my branding. So I ran and I changed the name back. That's what happened, okay? Okay? Don't give me a hard time about it. I didn't want to lose it. I realized, like, what am I doing? It's tattooed on my freaking arm. It's freaking tattooed on my arm. How am I going to give up that name? So all I needed was someone to put Chaos in the title of their channel or something. It was going to freak me out. So I said I could partner with the Jets Lounge and not have to change my name. It's not fair. I didn't ask them to change their Twitter name to Jets Chaos. And that would have a nice ring to it. Come join Jets Chaos on Twitter for a ravishing conversation with Braylon Edwards. It works. So anyway, somebody went onto Facebook and they said, Joe Douglas is not doing a good job. He's overrated. I don't know why Jet fans like him. Right? This was a Jet fan who said this on Facebook. So somebody wrote, not me, but somebody had already written, what do you mean? What are you talking about? No, well, no one talks about all the bad moves he makes. There were a lot of free agents that weren't that great, and there were draft picks that didn't work out. And there were undrafted free agents who didn't make the team. He's not that good. And I'm like, did you watch Any other team. Like, have you done research on any other team? Can somebody find me a GM that every draft pick they make is a success? Every free agent they sign is perfect? And every undrafted free agent they bring in makes the team. Can somebody do that for me and tell me who that team is? The Pittsburgh Steelers, very respected organization, brought in Jonathan Marshall. They had him for 2 years, year and a half. He was released. Maybe they pulled him back on his practice squad. I don't know. Is that a failure of the GM in Pittsburgh? Like, what? What are we talking about here? I'm not even saying that I'm going to judge a GM by their successes. I don't know the count, how many successful draft picks you have to be good. Let's look at the most obvious thing. Let's go back 3 years and look at the Jets roster. Let's go back 4 years and look at the roster and the financial situation of the team. Let's fast forward to today and look at the roster and look at the financial situation of the team. How in the world can someone in a serious way question or not understand that the job that Joe Douglas has done? In 2019 and 2020, we were in hell. We were in hell. We had the worst team. We were horrible. There was no hope for us. We brought in a running back, Le'Veon Bell, and thought that was going to help. That's how elementary our management was, our team was. That they thought that you could bring in a running back to a shitty team and that would make a difference. They were still living in 1985. They thought a running back could make your offense good. And we're not talking about a power back. We're not talking about Henry, who, like, it almost feels like, or Barry Sanders even. Not even a power, who defied the laws of nature and was successful without an offensive line. Le'Veon Bell had a great system in Pittsburgh. He had a great quarterback, a great offensive line, good tight end, great receivers. He had a system that when he left, John Connor came in and got over 1,000 yards and was scoring touchdowns. I'm not saying that Connor was better than him. I'm saying they had a system where if you were a living, breathing NFL quarterback, a running back, you were going to have a pretty good year. But we thought that was the answer. Right? Then Gase is gone. JD takes over the team and strips the roster down. We're down to 4 players. We got Williams, Quinnen Williams, Denzel Mims, Mekhi Becton, and Marcus May. After the trade of Jamal Adams, the brilliant trade of Jamal Adams, orchestrated by JD. 4 guys. Mims did nothing. He's gone. So we really only had 3. Marcus May did nothing. Gone. Becton missed 2 seasons. Now he's back, so we'll count him as a guy that started the puzzle. And we re-signed Quinnen Williams. 2 guys. Other than that, nothing. Nothing. Maybe Bryce Hall, you could argue, right? But what is he, right? He might not even make the team. People didn't even think he was going to make the team. Nothing. Now we're talking about Super Bowl. And if not Super Bowl, it's not even a question in our minds, right? Anybody, I mean, that we're a playoff team. But regardless of how we perform on the field, you can't take away from what we are right now on paper and what we should be if we execute. It has to be the GM that gets the credit for that. I mean, I can't argue with somebody if you're saying that a GM should have done better with what we were 3 years ago and now in 3 years. I mean, I can't help it if maybe you're younger and you have no idea what you're talking about. Yes, there have been teams that go from 1-15 to 10-6. They're a playoff team, but they had the guys. They had injuries. They had bad management. There were issues. and they fixed a few things and they turned it around. But the talent was there. In our case, the talent didn't prove to be there. It wasn't there. If all the guys from the 2020 team, 2021 team, if all the guys that were on the team back then were still on the team and really good, and they just needed a good coach, and we never got any better, so we were just barely making the playoffs, and you didn't like Joe Douglas because he didn't make us better, fine. But that wasn't the case. We didn't have players that were secretly good. We weren't a strong team that were underperforming because of bad coaching. We sucked. We didn't have anybody. We were a horrendously bad roster. We weren't an NFL team. And we are literally here 3 years later. And we are talking about, and not foolishly, forget about what we're talking about. Let's pretend we're all delusional. Other teams, experts, ESPN, the Main Street media, there are guys, not everyone, but there's a lot of them that believe the Jets are a Super Bowl contender. And the most general consensus, Las Vegas, the betting, which tells the truth, the gambling of the people, the masses, say that we're a top 8 team in the NFL. That's what America and the world, the gambling world, is saying. And if you know anything about gambling, you look at the spreads, they said everything. So no one knows for sure. There's no factual way to say who's the best team in the NFL, who's the second best. The best we got, better than any expert, better than anything, Vegas. If people are betting, if we're in the top 8, if we're 8th in the amount of money people are betting on us to win the Super Bowl, that's the best measure of how the world sees us. It's not reality. But if you want to use the fairest, biggest sample data in the world, no, there's no more data than that. There's nothing with more data than that. According to the world, to the perception of everyone that's not a Jet fan, and the Jet fans, we are in the top 8 in the NFL. Were we a top 8 team in 2020? We were probably the favorite if you were gambling on who the worst team was going to be. If you were gambling on who's going to get the number 1 pick. And in 3 years, we are now top 8. According to millions of people who gamble, we're top 8. Not Jet fans, just people who gamble. The gambling world thinks that we're in the top 8 in the NFL. True story. The Jets started 7-4 in the first 11 games with Zach Wilson and Mike White last year. Rodgers will probably start 8-3 and higher. Well, based on our schedule, if that's the case, then we are in for a really nice treat. And I'm not saying individually we can't win any of those games, but I'm saying that the schedule is really hard and we have to gel as a team because it is a new quarterback, right? There's a lot of newness, new offensive coordinator. So there is some newness. Now, the good news is the defense is going into the 3rd year of the system. Awesome. Our defense is healthy. Awesome. We've added firepower to it in Will McDonald. Jermaine Johnson's apparent huge step that he's made of progress. Sherwood's big step in progress. Tony Adams' big step in progress. Development guys, I love those kind of players, guys that we develop homegrown. There's a very good chance I believe we're a better defense than last year. I feel that we're a better defense last year. just because we're not going to wait till game 6 to start using Huff and activating Huff. Just because Jermaine Johnson looks so ridiculous and so good. So now we're going to have Bryce Huff from the very start. We're going to have Jermaine Johnson, who looks like he took an enormous leap. And then Will McDonald, who I think is going to make an impact. I'm not saying he's going to make a big impact in the number of sacks because I don't know if he'll get enough reps. But McDonald has already proven to be a guy, in my opinion, that when you take him in, he's a force that the other team has to reckon with. Like, he's already a force. And that That's a problem. Like, that's a problem for the other team, I should say. So I think I want to say another reason why we're going to take a step forward as a defense is third year in the system. Whitehead second year, he's better for him. Quincy Williams, he gets better and better the more he plays in the system. It's like, so he took a big step last year, and now there's no reason why he might not even take a bigger step this year, because he's a guy that's developing and getting better and better. Other people gave up on him and we didn't. And then, of course, we have Cantito making the point that Mike LaFleur is no longer playing, like LaFeew's no longer calling the plays. But I think, something we don't talk about enough is like one of the biggest improvements is, forget about the offensive coordinator and them calling better plays, the use of the audible. There's no measure in the difference of having Zach Wilson out there to call an audible, to be able to read the defense, see something he doesn't like, call an audible, and coach the team literally from under center. Aaron Rodgers might be the best quarterback in the NFL at it now that Tom Brady's retired. And I don't know that he was worse than Tom Brady. I'm just saying there's less of an argument, because who's out there that you can really argue is better in the moment, under center, calling an audible. So that's huge. That's not a small thing. There were a lot of plays where Zach probably didn't feel comfortable, but they snapped that ball. It's not going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. If he sees there's something wrong, he's going to change the play. It's going to make it harder on defenses. So that's just another way that we're going to improve. We're improving in so many ways. And just like you pointed out, we were 7-4 at one point last year before everything started to go to shit. It started with all the injuries, right? And then Zach got the yips and just everything fell apart. But we already had the talent there. We had the potential. There was something there for us. We had it. So we're not only adding a quarterback that's so much better, talent, like instinct-wise and ability-wise, because he's a freaking Hall of Famer compared to a young guy who had the yips, who was struggling. But you also have, in the play calling, a guy who can change the call on the fly in the moments when he sees the play is not going to work. I don't even think about that enough. Like, that's hitting me hard. Like, it's going to be so different. It's going to be so different. And it might not happen the first drive. Buffalo's a good team. It might take time to come to, like we can't panic early. Let the team settle in. Let the team find its identity. Let it happen. Would it be great if it explodes from game one? Yes. It would be great if it just explodes from game one. If in game one against Buffalo, we put up 30-plus points, it'd be great. But let's not panic if it doesn't happen that way. Okay? Buffalo's defense, Dallas's defense, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. New England's no joke on defense. Denver's no joke. I mean, we're playing really good defenses. But if we're bad in all four, be worried. Because even though we're playing good defense, there's no excuse not to have your victories. You still got to win sometimes. You still got to be able to score and have touchdown drives and have a good game, even when you're playing tough defenses. I'm just saying, if it gets off to a little rough start, just remember, we're new. New quarterback, new system, new everything. It has to gel. Yeah, no one wants to touch your knob, dude. Okay? Maybe if you have a 10-foot pole and on the edge of that pole you have like a scrub brush with some really high potent soap. Maybe then they want to touch your knob to freaking clean it off. The filth. The filth. It's probably on that guy's knob. It's the French Tickler Chaos Show. When I start coughing, it means my throat's getting scratchy. It means I've done enough. I've ranted long enough. I want to thank everyone for coming on tonight and listening to me rant. And hope nobody's crying or offended. It's just this is what I do. It's me letting out frustration. Got nothing to do with any of y'all. That's just the way it is. I always wanted to use the word y'all, and I just did. So I'm pretty proud of myself right now. But thanks for the super chat, Tony Alexio. I appreciated that. Thank you for the members. And I know there was a member chat. Let me put it up. I don't think I highlighted it. Weed the people. Thank you so much for being a member for 5 months. I really appreciate that. And watching me rant is an emotional roller coaster. Well, I hope I took you on a good ride, my friends. I know that you were well prepared for a good ride. So I hope I delivered for you and gave you an exciting ride. So, But anyway, I see you out there, Knobcraft. To anybody else I didn't say hi to, I apologize. But I got to go. And take care, everybody. I'll leave you with this.
Let's go! We need JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! Let's go!
JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great!
It is Matt, it is Richie. We are hanging out with the Jets Lounge guys. Richie, my man, how's it going?
Matt, this is sick. We're at the Jets Lounge event in Farmingdale. The main event is what it's called. We got the entire Rodgers family over there.
Jets!